it is starting to get very, very important that I know what I'm doing in these drafts. I have my draft 6 days from now in the Flock League. It will be the scariest moment of my life. Hopefully, the most exciting moment in my life if I can come away with a great team. But every day that it gets closer, I get a little more nervous. We are going to do a couple underdog basketball drafts. There's a Flock tournament out that's, I believe, going to last through the rest of the night. And then obviously we'll have a new Flock tournament that drops on Tuesday night. And then a new Flock tournament that drops on Friday night. Just in case you don't know, we are doing Flock tournaments on Underdog every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday nights. But we're also going to be getting in some regular redraft mock drafts at the end of this. Because like I said, I really need to make sure that I know what I'm doing in the Flock League. I need to make sure that I am ready. So we are in this Flock tournament. There are 5 spots open. If anybody wants to join this with us, I'm sure I've showed you this 1,000 times, but just in case you haven't seen the Flock tournament set up on Underdog, $10 buy-in, 4,800 people in this, $44,000 prize pool, 10K to first, 5,000 to second, all the way down the line. How you turn $10 into 10,000 is there is only going to be one team in your 12-team draft to advance to the fantasy playoff tournament. It's the highest scoring team in weeks 1 through 14. And then there in week 15, you'll go up against one person. If you beat them, you'll go up against one person in week 16. If you beat them, you'll go up against 99 people in week 17. And if you beat them, you turn $10 into 10,000. So we are hopefully going to be able to take down a single Flock tournament this year, or at least get second, get third, do something, because y'all have absolutely crushed me. At least y'all did last year. But thank you, everyone, for coming to hang out with us in this live stream. Y'all know I'm excited to see you. And sorry that this live stream's a little bit late. We had to get out the newest post on the site. So I will let y'all see this post real quick. I have been working on this for a while. It should have been a lot better than it is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, this changes fantasy football. It's definitely some useful information. Don't get me wrong. But if y'all go over and look at the newest post on the site, the season-long player props, I actually went ahead and looked at all major sports books and then went and grabbed their season-long lines when it comes to total team points. I grabbed them when it comes to positions. So like you can see what the projections are for rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, fantasy points, fantasy rushing points, I should probably add there, across every running back in the league, every wide receiver in the league, every tight end, every quarterback. What's not super exciting about it, here real quick, we are going to take Jahmyr Gibbs here in the first. What's not super excited about it, exciting about it, is I couldn't find receiving yardage marks for all the running backs, and I couldn't find rushing yardage marks for all the quarterbacks. So like the running backs, you only have rushing stats. The quarterbacks, you only have passing stats. So obviously, like, you look at something like this and Derrick Henry's just going to be looking like the best running back available, but it's because we don't have the Jahmyr Gibbs receiving volume. We don't have the Bijan Robinson receiving volume in these projections. But still, there were some very interesting takeaways, like sportsbooks are projecting Tank Bigsby to straight up have more rushing yards and rushing touchdowns than Travis Etienne, which is a notable point there. Now, let's see. Christian says, I finished top 100 on the Flock League in the Flock tournament last year. So let me definitely reiterate. 2 different things here. Flock tournaments on Underdog, and then we have the actual Flock League draft on Thursday. We're determining the order on Thursday. We're doing the draft on Saturday. I'm not that nervous for these $10 Underdog drafts. I'm literally not, it's nothing. I'm not nervous at all. What I am nervous for is the Flock League, just in case you didn't see this. It's a YouTube channel we have, a bunch of YouTubers. You probably know the majority of them, if not all of them. And we have like a reality TV show league kind of around it. And it is very stressful, because if I crap the bed, then I'm going to be just made fun of for an entire year and never going to be able to live it down. But if I win the league, I can't even begin to imagine how happy I would be. I can't even begin to imagine the trash talk that I would be able to dish out on those league mates So very much hoping that we have a good draft on Saturday and very much need to be practicing for it. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor over Ladd McConkey. And how you doing, Dylan? I heard that you're staying with the land guys in Australia this next year, which is exciting. And I will say real quick, if you are copying and pasting the same question over and over again in the chat, I will intentionally ignore it. Please don't do that. Chase Brown off at 21. Ladd McConkey 22, Josh Jacobs at 23. So when we start running back, we are hoping that we get a wide receiver making it to us at pick 29 that we're excited about. Higgins goes 24 out of taking T. Higgins at 29, but it looks like that team at 1 just setting themselves up with the Cincinnati Bengals double stack. Like, you actually had the team that won millions of dollars in Best Ball Mania on Underdog last year. Drafted Chase, Higgins, Chase Brown, I believe like Jermaine Burton, Mike Gesicki, Joe Burrow. Drafted every Cincinnati Bengal you could possibly imagine. Okay. And Josh Allen off at 26. Utah Sports says, if the draft is bad, can't you just fleece the developers, Mason? That is a good point. If we get cooked in the draft, I may have to go over to the devs and go, hey, guys, y'all may have to take one for the team here. Y'all may have to throw a little something my way. Kyron Williams, JSN go. Y'all know JSN's typically the wide receiver that I'm taking in this range. I'm going to take Marvin Harrison here instead. What I don't like about taking Harrison is like Trey McBride's going to be on the other side of us. So there's a good shot that in round 8, the Trey McBride team takes Kyler Murray from us. And I would really like to be able to take Trey McBride over Marvin Harrison myself. Like, if you're drafting on ESPN, if you're drafting on Yahoo, and if you're drafting on Sleeper, your regular redraft league, for the love of God, please don't take Marvin Harrison here. Take Trey McBride. But in Underdog Best Ball Draft specifically, if you fall too far behind at wide receiver, you're just absolutely screwed. The reason for that is their best ball. So after you draft your team, your roster's locked. There are no trades. There are no waiver wire moves. That's why you go so far deep into these drafts. And with that in mind as well, there are no starting lineup requirements. There are no start-sit decisions. Your best starting lineups automatically submitted for you at the end of every single week. So there's no time commitment at all during the year. That's why I'm able to draft so many of these teams. But also, for that reason, people are going to be pushing up wide receivers dramatically because there are only so many of them to go around. And you can typically project them with a lot more certainty through the middle rounds than you could with the running backs. But the walk-on 373 says, how's the new guy in the league? He's going to be fun to watch on the YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm excited to have. I'm not going to call him by his name. If y'all want to know his name, you can watch the audition video that we had to get him in. I'm going to refer to him as the fan that is now in the Flock League. I'm excited to hang out with him in Austin. I mean, I haven't hung out with him before. I don't know how he is. We'll see. Okay, Jalen Hurts off the board at pick 42. DJ Moore goes at 43. I'll take Terry McLaurin. So I know we just discussed us getting those season-long props over there on the site. Not so you can bet on them, just so you can look at them for fantasy purposes. And there, you actually have Sportsbook still very confident in Terry McLaurin this next season. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll take him here at pick 44. If y'all remember early in the offseason when we talked about our least drafted wide receivers when Terry McLaurin was going in the middle of the 3rd round, Terry McLaurin was in the bottom 5 of my exposures. I was never taking him. But here at this price point, when we need wide receiver, I think it's a no-brainer pick. And obviously, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but just in case you are new here, if you ever wanted to draft with us on Underdog, if you ever wanted to draft in one of these Flock tournaments, I would love to have you. They also have $5 drafts. They have higher stakes drafts, which you'll see on this live stream as well. But if you're new, definitely get in some $5 drafts, get in some $10 drafts. Don't go hop in a $25 or $500. But if you wanted to draft on Underdog, you can find the link always in the description, comment section of these live streams where it says draft with us here. And if you use promo code FLOCK when you sign up to Underdog Fantasy, you'll get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you'll get all of our 2025 Fantasy Football Draft Guide cheat sheets, and you will get those updated every Friday until the season starts. Now, if you wanted to take advantage of that, if you want to hop into a draft with us, you do have to be in one of these states. Good news for you is they're available in pretty much every single state. So you can see the map. They're in all the big ones. There are like 5 or 6 that Underdog's not in. Okay, let's move this back. Chuba Hubbard off the board at 51. Rashee Rice goes, I want a wide receiver here. We get the DK Metcalf fall. So we're going to keep it stupid simple. We will take DK Metcalf. So now running back, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor. Wide receiver, Marvin Harrison, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf. I think this would be pretty exciting if this was our start in the Flock League. But the King Dachi says, how do I get the sheets if I use the promo code? They are going to be emailed to the email address you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. So, full transparency, what happens is Underdog sends me a list of all the email addresses that use promo code FLOCK and made a $10 deposit in 2025. I take that list. This year, I just decided to do it on MailChimp, put it on MailChimp, and then every Friday, I send you the updated draft guide. Now, you can ask anybody here. I've never gone and sent like a promo email. It's literally just, hey, here are the updated draft sheets. Click this link and access them whenever. Okay. Now, Ben says you want to take Lamar over Marvin Harrison in the Flock League. I would take the elite quarterback or honestly McBride over Harrison. Like if this was the Flock League, I wouldn't have panicked to the point where we need to take a wide receiver there in round 3. I potentially would have grabbed myself either the elite quarterback or the elite tight end. But it is scary to do that in the Flock League because like if you look at the expert rankings on the site and you compare them to maybe like how your drafts are going to go on ESPN or Yahoo or Sleeper, if you're drafting with some like tacos in your home league, they don't really know what they're doing. You may be able to get like a Buka in round 10. You may be able to get like Jawan Jennings in round 9, Matthew Golden in round 9, based off what I've seen. However, you go ahead and you look at like the rankings on flockfantasy.com and the people in the Flock League or people who make these rankings, and you can see like you're not getting those wide receiver values. Buka is not going in round 10, and our draft is going to go in round 6 or 7. So it's almost similar to Underdog drafts where I would be scared of falling behind at the wide receiver position in the Flock League as well. And also the Flock League's double flex, full PPR, 12 teams in it. So I have the sheet, of course, that we're going to be using. I'll just show you what sheet I'm going to be using for the Flock League here. Obviously, you have access to these sheets as well if you either use code FLOCK on Underdog or got a season pass on the flockfantasy.com. But I'm going to be using others since we have an in-person draft. I'm going to be using PPR Start 8. So I'm going to be using sheet 44. And in that sheet, if you go ahead and look at those rankings, you will see that we are pushing the wide receivers up for that format, which is exactly what I did in the Flock League last year. As if y'all remember, I mean, I went heavy on wide receiver. I mean, to the extent that there's no way in hell I would do that if you were playing in like a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. But in my kind of league, it makes sense. Sir Bob says, is Sticky Ricky a trap? And then we also have T. Tony says, did you see the Ayuk news? I don't think Sticky Ricky's a trap here because Ayuk's not going to be ready until week 6. And if they're telling us Ayuk's not going to be ready until week 6 on August 11th, like that's the exact opposite of what you want to be hearing. What you want to hear is them come out and tell us like, ooh, Ayuk, he's on track. Maybe he's going to miss the beginning of the season, but it's too early to know. Once they tell us, hey, he's going to be out until week 6, we have a damn good idea. Yeah, this is somebody that you can't rely on. So I actually moved Ayuk down slightly in our ranks for redraft leagues. I moved Ayuk down here to wide receiver 54. If you have a couple IR slots, then maybe you can push him a little higher than that. But I think I also need to move Ricky Pearsall ahead of Jordan Addison. And I think I need to move Jawan Jennings ahead of him as well. So, and then what the hell? We're going to take Joe Burrow. What is going on? B says, bro got gifted Burrow and passed again. Yeah, what just happened? The team at 1, if you were in this draft, my friend, Just, I'm going to be appreciative that I can get Joe Burrow here at pick 77 just for the advancement. But the team at 1, if you're in this live stream, in these tournaments, if you have Jamar Chase and or T. Higgins, especially if you have them both, and you can get Joe Burrow at pick 72 or 73, you have to pull the trigger. So I'll take him at 77 here. And we'll use them hopefully to advance. I think that stacks still very much matter in the flock tournaments on Underdog. Don't get me wrong. Like, you definitely want your players stacked up, but it's not the end of the world. I think you can take some guys unstacked. Okay. Now, Jerry Jeudy off the board at pick 80. And I hope that y'all like, let me show off the hat. You can see we got the Flock League logo here. It looks like it's maybe like printed on camera, but it's actually stitched on. Looks pretty nice in person. Got the Flock Fantasy on the side, and we got a bunch of other designs too. So got massive boxes arrived at the house today. Got a bunch of hats to ship out to everybody. So I think I told you I ordered 400 hats from the, from this company. I told them, like, hey, if this order is good, we'll go ahead and we'll order a bunch more. I think that this was a very good order. So what I'm probably going to do is we're probably going to order like another 600 or so, like a ridiculous amount. And then I'm going to make my little brother and a girlfriend during the season, ship them out to y'all. We're going to take Kyler Murray here to pair up with Marvin Harrison, and we're going to get 2 top-end quarterbacks. But yeah, so first, if you go to the meetup on Sunday, I can guarantee you that you'll get a hat there. There'll be way more hats than we'll have people. I have an entire box so you can pick whatever design you want. And obviously, the meetup's completely free. I know it's maybe tough for y'all to get there, but I would absolutely love to see you there. It's August 17th, Austin, Texas. If you're in San Antonio, if you're in Dallas, if you're in Houston, please come out. Obviously, if you're in Austin as well. And you can see all the details on the screen here. Everybody in the Flock League is going to be there, and I hope that you're there as well. But anyway, out of all the hats we ordered, we have 400 right now. I'm going to pass out as many as I can to people that show up to the meetup. I'd imagine we get like 100-ish people, give or take some. And then obviously give everybody in the Flock League a bunch of hats. Probably say we'll have 200 hats left over. Based off how many of y'all have gotten memberships to the site lately. 1, I have more money to order hats. And 2, there are more of y'all that I probably am going to need to ship hats to. So after we get the other box in, we're going to take Cooper Kupp here. Kupp, definitely more exciting in best ball than he would be in your regular redraft league. But once we get more hats in, I'm going to be making a post on the site. Very similar to what we did last year. And of course, I'll make the announcement when this happens. Let me pull up the post that we had last year regarding this. I'll send an announcement in the Discord. I'll make an announcement on YouTube to make sure you know when to fill this out. But this was what we did last year, the free merch post. So you'll just go, obviously don't bother filling this out now. It's way too late. If you didn't get one of these hats, if you didn't get a shirt, you missed the boat. But we'll like have this little Google form for you to fill out. You'll essentially see all the merch options. You'll list like your favorite to least favorite, your size, your address, your email address on the site. And then we'll try to get y'all, we'll try to get as many people, as many items as we can. Okay. Charbonnet off the board here at the end of the 9th. And they're not going to be for sale either. It's just going to be, we've had way more people buy the season pass than I was imagining. I think I already told y'all this. And I owe y'all, I'm not doing this of saying like, oh, look at me, this is bragging or blah, blah, blah. It's just, I genuinely owe y'all a massive thank you. I thought we were taking a pretty big risk making the season pass a third of the price of what we usually do an annual membership at. Didn't know, like, are we really going to sell triple of these of what we usually sell the annual membership at? And like, we passed our August numbers from 2024 on like August 9th. So we'll see if it slows down. But as of now, it looks like a ton of people have gotten membership. So we are going to have to order way more hats than I was expecting. Rashad Bateman goes 114. I'm probably not going to go quarterback here. I think we could go with the third quarterback in this draft at some point, but let's just go ahead and take a tight end in Tucker Kraft. I think if this was a larger field contest where I'm really optimizing for points in the final 3 weeks, I think I go Loveland over Tucker Kraft. But here in the flock tournament, you do have the most points of any team drafted in weeks 1 through 14 to advance to the playoff tournament. So I maybe like the idea of giving the veteran a slight edge just because we really need those points weeks 1 through 5. Okay. Eric says, just got the season pass today. Thank you, Miss. No, thank you, my friend. I really hope that you enjoy it. Christian says, can you sign my hat if I get one? Usually what I do is I'll write a little thank you letter and I'll sign that and throw it in there. I mean, if you really want me to sign a hat, I can, but I've never done that before. Okay, McCarthy goes 120. So this team does get Addison stacked with McCarthy, and they got Bo Nix stacked with Sutton. It's going to be hilarious if this team at 1 ends up winning this tournament after I clowned on them. Okay, Javante goes 121. Utah says backstack with Burton or Yoshivash. Honestly, I'm not going to stress about it because weeks 15 and 16, you only have to go up against one person. So there's a very real outcome that we use like a Joe Burrow score in week 15 and don't need Chase or Higgins to just beat the one person we're going up against, kind of similar to the Eliminator. We'll take Ramondre Stevenson here. Actually, honestly, I'm going to go with Tank Bigsby. I'm going to go Ramondre. I am definitely more excited about Tank Bigsby after we made those sportsbook prop sheets. And we saw all the sportsbooks putting Bigsby ahead of Travis Etienne as a rusher this year. So obviously, Bigsby has been a big-time riser, but it looks justified based off what sportsbooks are putting out. But I might completely forgot what I was saying. Caesar says, speaking of hats, when are we going to get ours, mother flockers? That's what I was just saying. I'm going to be ordering a big shipment of those hats. And then I'm going to be essentially teaching the little brother and the girlfriend this year, like, hey, I need help shipping these out. Please help me. Because in the past, I've done it all myself, and it's just so tough doing it during the season. Just because I know it's like, oh, look at me, blah, blah, blah. But it's just the fact of the matter is I am working close to 100-hour weeks. Like, y'all see it. 2 years ago, I live streamed for like 250 days straight. So it's like really tough for me to do the shipments and stuff during the season, but I'll want to get them out for y'all sooner rather than later. So I'll just have to get a little help. Okay. Trey Benson goes 133. Hollywood Brown goes 134. Utah Sports says, I'm flying out for the meetup. Can we see if anyone wants to draft a league at the bar beforehand? Realistically, here's what I'm sure you could do. If you brought like a physical draft board to the meetup, if the meetup is 4 hours, I'm sure you could find people to do a draft during the meetup. I'm sure that your odds of getting people there like an hour beforehand may be a little bit tougher, but G says, how small claims court Dodd? Ooh, freaking, what's his name? Took me to the cleaners. Is it Spog? Yeah, Spog took me to the cleaners. So it's very tough, but he's a good negotiator. We're going to take Dallas Goedert. I just think Dallas Goedert's the best player in this range. Like, I think Dallas Goedert outscores the wide receivers here, potentially. Jacob says, if either your starting running backs get injured, you are cooked. That's 100% true, but this is also a $10 buy-in with $10,000 to first. I'm not expecting that the most likely outcome is I win this. I'm expecting the most likely outcome is I'm cooked regardless, and I'm trying to change the 0.01% chance I have of turning $10 into $10,000 and a 0.1% chance. So if I go with the double anchor running back, if I go with Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor, I'm going to draft as if they're good to go, and I'm going to draft as if they crush. Okay. Romeo Dobbs goes 141. Justin Herbert goes 142. It will be interesting to see if that team decides to take Trey Harris at 147. Clearly not great for me making Quentin Johnson such a large percentage of our portfolio. But we are doing so at a much cheaper cost than where people were drafting Trey Harris. And you know your boy didn't draft any Trey Harris. I'm feeling good about that. Now, clearly the correct answer would have been you don't take either of them. But Jaden Blue goes 147. Bryce Young off. Looks like we're going to take some Dylan Sampson as our running back 4. And I'm going to regret every draft I ever took Quinshon Judkins in, as I see him just continuing to fall further and further and further. Okay. Desire Best says the Deonta Thornton rise is honestly insane. I'm not going to be taking Thornton at all. I am just not interested. Now, at the same time, I said the same exact thing about another day 3 rookie riser before he turned out to be a top 10 wide receiver, put up one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons of all time in Puka Nacua. I didn't draft Puka at all as a rookie. I had no interest. I was adamantly against it. So I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, you cannot draft Deonta Thornton. Thornton's a garbage pick here. You need to take Cedric Tillman instead. I'm not saying that at this point. Okay. Preston says, are the flockfantasy.com rankings PPR or half PPR? So the rankings page itself on flockfantasy.com is PPR. If you're playing in a half PPR format and you need a draft sheet for your league, I got you covered. Again, if you go to the 50 draft sheets that we posted, we'll take Tyler Algier as our 5th running back and we'll call it a day. But yeah, so the rankings page, just when you go to flockfantasy.com, this is PPR. But if you go to the draft guides and then hit the 2025 Flock draft sheets, we have half PPR sheets here with the rankings adjusted for you. So obviously there are a bunch of half PPR sheets. Make sure you look your platform, look your league size, look your starting lineup stuff. So you're using the right half PPR one. Okay. Spog's going to be getting in the next draft with us. Spog taking us to the cleaners in courts, in the court, and in drafts. Brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Okay, John O. Smith goes 168. Mr. Shadow Dog says, can you do the next draft where you only take safe advancement players? I feel like we kind of did that in this draft. It's like we loaded up on any suspended players, on any injured players, on any rookies. I would say, like Ramondre Stevenson, probably a safe advancement player. It's Glazer says, is there a sheet for a startup dynasty? There's not a sheet like that. However, there are dynasty rankings, and I would confidently stand by, based if you look at all the creators on the site, how involved they are in dynasty. Definitely the dynasty rankings are going to be the best on our site by far. But just go to the format, and then you can change it to Dynasty 1 quarterback or Dynasty Superflex. Chig goes 172. We're going to take Jalen McMillan. We'll lock him in. But Andy says, did my first redraft, killed it, buy the $34 pass. Appreciate you, my friend, and happy to hear that. And it's surprising to hear that you're already doing your draft, but I definitely have heard like one of the developers on the site, he already had his home league draft last weekend. My little brother just texted me a team that he drafted. So I guess people are drafting now. What are y'all talking about the big Q? Are you kidding me? God, I already called Underdog support in the stream 2 nights ago to tell them about this bug, but I haven't heard anybody say that the bug is impacting their Underdog account. Apparently it's only impacting mine, and I guess Underdog's telling me F off, we don't care about yours. Is I have a bug that every time we're on the clock in round 15, even if I click on Jalen McMillan and try to draft Jalen McMillan, for whatever reason, it adds Quentin Johnston to my team. So I apologize that you had to see that. And again, I haven't heard that happen to anybody else. But, of course, I'm the guy that gets unlucky. I'm the guy that's cursed. I'm the guy that gets this bug. Just absolutely garbage. We're just probably wide receiver tight ends. Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor. I'm not taking Gesicki even if we have an unstacked Burrow. I know that's what most smart people would do. We'll take an injured Mason Taylor. Let's move this over. Now, I am not about to say this. I'm not about to say that Quentin Johnston this year is going to be our Josh Jacobs from 2022. But if you do remember, we planted our flag. We are willing to take the guy that nobody else wanted, willing to look like an idiot, and we are drafting Josh Jacobs nonstop. Then the Hall of Fame game happened. They made him play in the Hall of Fame game for whatever reason, and then he fell like another 3 rounds. And what did we do? We kept on taking the dude. So I have never been one to be willing to throw in the towel. I've never been one to go, ooh, I'm above looking dumb on a live stream. Hell, I've said so many dumb things. I've done so many dumb things that at this point I'm numb to it. So I see Quentin Johnston at 173. I'm going to take Quentin Johnston at 173. And if y'all remember, I wasn't really drafting the big Q as a rookie. This fascination started last year. And last year, it worked out quite well. We are just wide receiver through the rest of this draft. Hopkins, Knoll, I will take Hopkins. And then we're just going to queue up some bum wide receivers here at the very end. We'll go Lockett, Elikeo Manor. I think Jalen Nailors may be interesting in a tournament like this. We'll go Roman Wilson. And we'll maybe actually let's put Yoshi Vosh at the very top. We do have Burrow. Why the hell not? And then we'll just make sure that we get a wide receiver before it's all said and done. Actually, I need to move Jalen Coker up as well. Coker's been steaming. But I like the team overall. I definitely don't think that was a bad one. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get in Best Ball Mania. Let y'all know right when we first opened up the stream, Safari blocked my location. And again, you do need to be in one of these states if you want to get in an Underdog draft. And if you're using like a VPN or if your browser blocks your location for whatever reason, Underdog's fully regulated. So they're not going to let you like get in a draft unless you are legitimately in one of these states. So I'm going to actually just enter in on my phone here. That way I don't have to deal with juking y'all out. Okay. So we are in BBM now. We get pick 8. Pick 8 kind of sucks. I don't know if y'all had a chance to see, but we put out the video earlier today, like going through and grading our favorite to least favorite picks. Pick slots, that is. And I did that from a redraft perspective, not a dynasty league. I'm sorry, not a underdog draft. Sorry, we were stuck on the dynasty rankings on the site. But it still kind of stand by the rankings that we had, putting like the 108 kind of as one of the worst picks. I think it applies to underdog drafts as well as your regular redraft league. P Dunk says picks 8 through 12 are trash on underdog. I really like picks 11 and 12. Because like if you can start Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, it's just great. And obviously, real quick, I know we haven't said this so far in this live stream, but you've heard me say it a bajillion times up until this point. We still have the $34 season pass on the site. Flockfantasy.com gets you access to literally everything, all the rankings from now until January 1st, rest of season, weekly. They'll be updated pretty much every single day. Plus, you'll get all our draft sheets. I have 50 of them posted. We have 4 other draft guides from other creators posted as well. A plus on top of that, trade calculator, trade finder, my team's page, range of outcomes, bunch of different tools on the site. It's only $34 for the entire season. It's not a subscription. It's a one-time payment. Spend the $34 and you're set. Good to go for pretty much everything. And also, if you use code FLOCK when you sign up, I will be answering your start set questions and your trade questions for free on the live stream during the season. And Richard says, no ad, but the Flock Pass is so good. It's only getting better, my friend. The devs are grinding. The devs are grinding. Okay, Justin Jefferson off the board. So here, I have no idea what the hell to do. We got bad news regarding Matthew Stafford. So I was previously taking Puka Nacua here at 8. But if Stafford is saying, oh, he's going to practice, and then he ends up not practicing, there's enough smoke in Los Angeles where I think we're just going to go ahead. I think we're just going to start passing on Puka in favor of neighbors Nico St. Brown. Mike says, how do we access the live streams with the $34 offer? Is it just like it here? So the live streams are actually going to be on YouTube. So you'll submit the start set questions and the trade questions on flockfantasy.com and you'll have free vouchers for them. And then I'll answer them on the live stream on YouTube and the answers will be sent to you through the site as well. Drake London goes. So one thing that was very surprising when we did the research for the season-long props from sportsbooks and DFS companies, what they were putting out, is we actually found that like AJ Brown and Nico Collins project a lot closer to neighbors Nico, St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., than they do like the next wide receivers, Ladd McConkey, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill. Like AJ Brown, Drake London almost belong more so in like this tier of round 1 guys than they would players going at the 2-3 turn, which I wouldn't have been expecting that, to be honest. Because I view a massive teardrop from Brian Thomas, Puka, Monroe St. Brown down to London and AJ Brown, but sportsbooks are saying that's not the case. Kevin says, thoughts on the guard Landon Dickerson's injury if he misses time for the Eagles? What I read today is it sounds like he may be good to go week 1. Obviously, it was a pretty big scare yesterday. And I'm not saying that he's 100% good to go. I have no idea. But sounds like we got some positive news regarding it. Spog Slayer is going to be at the meetup, but he's not going to be signing autographs. That is an important note. Whatever says, wait, did you drop the sportsbook stuff? Yeah, it's on the site. I would love to say like, hey, it's total game changer. It's the best thing ever. But in reality, there are definite limitations. Sadly, I couldn't really find receiving yardage marks for all the running backs, so I wasn't really able to include that. I wasn't able to include quarterback rushing statistics either. But the season-long player prop lines that we put out, looked at all major sports books, got kind of the median projection from all of them. Took a lot of time, but I was able to get everything relevant for receivers, everything relevant for tight ends, all the rushing stuff for the running backs, and all the passing stuff for the quarterbacks. Okay, Trey McBride goes pick 28. So we have a lot of flexibility when we start wide receiver. If we get a running back, or we can go with an elite quarterback, like kind of either or. Josh Allen goes 30. Lamar off. So I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison just for the ADP value that you have. Like, I think the start of Malik Neighbors, A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison's not going to be too common. Even though if you look at my rankings, I have Amari Hampton ranked straight up over Marvin Harrison. But a big thing that I have to be thinking about in Best Ball Mania as we draft like an underdog team here specifically is this is a $25 buy-in with a $15 million prize pool. 670,000 teams drafted. $2 million to first place. So I do kind of have to be thinking of like, oh, let me try to build a super team. Let me try to build the team that very few other people have drafted. And in a lot of drafts in Best Ball Mania, people were able to take Amari Hampton at the 4-5 turn. Which, this is kind of the latest Marvin Harrison's gone all offseason. So Jaden Daniels goes. George Pickens off the board at pick 39, which is super interesting. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God we took Marvin Harrison when we did. Because taking the slight ADP value of Marvin Harrison compounds with us taking the massive ADP value of Jackson Smith and Jigba. And this gives us a combo where almost nobody is going to have this in Best Ball Mania. Because you go ahead and you look at the vast majority of these drafts, Marvin Harrison going anywhere from the beginning of the third to kind of where we took him at pick 32, maybe pick 33. And Jackson Smith and Jigba kind of goes in the middle of the third around pick 30 all the way back until like pick 36. So the player combo Harrison JSN is extremely rare. You can duplicate it if you just go with them at like pick 24 and 25 or 23 and 26. But then you're not also going to have A.J. Brown and Malik Neighbors on the same team. So super exciting start through the first 4 rounds. If this was my start in the Flock League, I'd be pumped as well. Because again, Flock League and Underdog, similar in a way that you can start 4 wide receivers weekly. So let's see. Yeah, obviously we're going to have to just play catch up at the running back position, but it's looking pretty. Like, we have a shot. Team at 48 goes Trevin Henderson. Trevin Henderson would have been the dream for us at 56, but obviously after the last preseason game, that's just very unlikely. Yeah, the pressure is on at this point. Yeah, team 2 and team 8, which we're team 8. 2 completely different starts. Team 2 going with 0 wide receivers through the first 4 rounds. Our team, we are going with only wide receivers through the first 4. If this was like a regular redraft league, I would love team 2. Like, team 2 would just be the absolute best. But Underdog specifically, I would much prefer buying. So Travis Hunter off the board at 52. Let's swing this back. We have a bunch of options here. We are sitting pretty. Jalen Waddle goes. Okay, I was going to, if Metcalf made it to me, I was going to take DK Metcalf. And I was just going to let y'all hate me for it. But instead, we will take Chuba Hubbard. We'll get him as our running back 1. Am I going to sit here and say Chuba Hubbard's the most talented running back in the world? The Carolina Panthers are the most exciting offense in the world? No. But Chuba Hubbard does project to see a lot of volume. Now, I do think he kind of profiles as that historical dead zone back. That you're just kind of taking him here, not because of his talent profile, but because of his volume projection, which could be shaky. But with that being said, I just need touches at running back. So we'll take him at 56. It would have been much better for us to get Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker is a better running back between the two. James Conner goes 61. Louis says, could you get your friends in the same draft and work together to get one mega team? You could do it. And then Underdog has a bunch of things in place to identify when that happens. And like I'm sure most people in this live stream have been in a draft that Underdogs canceled and refunded everybody in the draft and then banned the people colluding. Like there are safety measures in there that Underdog takes to make sure nobody does that. Because in theory, yes, 12 people could just join one of these drafts and go like, okay, I'm going to take Shedeur Sanders in round 1. One guy takes freaking Torrey Horton in round 1. And then some team walks away with Jamar Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson with their first 3 picks. It's like, oh, I just found a cheat code to turn $25 into $2 million. But the reality is you would just get banned, everybody who does that, and the draft would get refunded. So DeAndre Swift, pick 65. Swift has been a consistent producer for quite some time. And at the same time, you are looking at significant improvement with the offensive line, coaching staff, and hopefully quarterback play with Caleb going to year 2. It's actually funny. If you go ahead and pull up DeAndre Swift on the site, you can see that from a points per game perspective, DeAndre Swift's never finished lower than an RB24 season. If you look at total points, he's never finished lower than RB21. But points per game, RB10 as a rookie, RB9 as a second-year player. And if you remember, this was a phenomenal prospect too. So after he had a great prospect profile and crushes as an RB1 his first 2 seasons, we were looking at DeAndre Swift as like a top 5 running back in Dynasty. And then obviously he falls off, goes to Philadelphia, just disappointing efficiency-wise. Disappointing in Chicago as well. But he played 67% of the snaps in Chicago. And it looks like Roschon isn't a big concern at this point, which y'all know hook 'em horns. I love Roschon, but can't sit here and pretend that he's going to be a thing. Okay, Golden goes 73, Laporte off 74. Pollard goes 76. Pollard would have been exciting with the Spears injury. In terms of quarterbacks here, neither Mahomes or Baker are that interesting. If we decided to go Godwin at 80, Baker would be in play on the way back. But in reality, the way that this is going, we're more likely than not just going to end up taking a running back. Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco goes, so we're going to get Caleb Johnson. I mean, we took 2 old, crusty veteran running backs as our first 2 guys to hopefully give us that volume at the beginning of the year. And then Caleb Johnson, you're probably going to lose a lot of work, specifically to Jalen Warren at the beginning of the season. But hopefully the talent shines through and hopefully he's able to expand his role as the year goes on. Super interesting to see that team at 2 go with Sam Laporte here in the 7th. In my opinion, which who the hell am I to say anything? It's not like I know anything, but in an underdog draft, if you go with 0 wide receivers through the first 4 rounds, you kind of need to be slamming wide receiver. You can't afford a Sam Laporta pick. You need to be taking just Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir, Chris Godwin. You need to be taking a wide receiver there, just anybody. Okay, Aaron Jones goes 86. Let's swing this over. Running back, we're not that bad off anymore. I mean, we have Chuba, DeAndre Swift, Caleb Johnson. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we have the best running back room ever drafted. But I actually think we can afford to go ahead and take TJ Hawkinson. We'll take Hawkinson, pick 89. You get the Jefferson hamstring question mark plus the Jordan Addison suspension. What's actually really interesting is you go back and look at the last healthy season we had from TJ Hawkinson. Let's actually compare Hawkinson from 2024 to 2025. So we got Hawkinson up. Let's change this to, I'm sorry, 2023 to 2024. If you look at his 2023 season, TJ Hawkinson averaged 14.5 points per game and was the tight end 2. This past year in 2024, he still averaged 1.98 yards per route run. Like, it's not like the efficiency dropped off. It was just coming off a significant injury. He didn't play much. Played 63% of the snaps and only ran 22 routes a game. So if you assume, oh, he's fully healthy, we're going to get him back up 30-plus routes a game. Hawkinson has it in his range of outcomes to very easily crush his top 5 tight end. Pats fan says it's crazy that Hawkinson's 28 felt like he is 32. Yeah, he was drafted in 2019, I believe. Same draft classes like A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf. And a couple of those guys, like Terry McLaurin as an example, are very old because they stayed 5 years in college. But TJ Hawkinson came out only after 3 years at Iowa, so still pretty young. Okay. Caleb Williams off at 99. Ethan says, hey, Mason, are you excited for Taylor Swift on New Heights this week? I'll be honest with you, I have never watched a Travis Kelce podcast. I did like Travis Kelce in Happy Gilmore 2, though. I thought he was pretty good. Not a big Swiftie, but honestly, if I'm sitting here working, now that I know that's happening, I may throw it on. We're just going to take Bo Nix. I know we don't have a Bo Nix stack. Best Ball Mania stacks are very important. But the only team that would have a Bo Nix stack at this point is going to be the Cortland Sutton team. So you can take Bo Nix, see if you get Evan Ingram on the way back. We don't in this case, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Peter says Taylor greater than. Taylor Swift does get a lot of hate, but Taylor Swift has pretty good songs. I know that's just going to completely alienate 25% of people watching this, but it is what it is. Trevor Lawrence goes 109. Shaheed 110. So if we were to go with the tight end here, whether that be Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, Loveland, we would be done drafting tight end with like TJ Hawkinson and Tyler Warren. Is an important note. Quarterback, we don't really have anybody in play for us. Like, I guess we could reach on McCarthy. I think we're just going to take Tyler Warren and call it a day at tight end. Let's see. P. Dunk says, is Judkins' pick 158 good? I'm the wrong guy to ask, my friend, because I love to draft players that won't play football. So I've drafted a lot of Quinshon Judkins. My thought process is, hell, this is a $25 buy-in, $2 million to first place. I think Quinshon Judkins is 10 times more talented than any player that he's getting drafted alongside. While, yes, the most likely outcome is he doesn't play a lot of football this year. If there's a 20% chance that he signs with the team next week, plays all year, gets suspended in 2026, like, he's at that cost, he can turn $25 into $2 million. So I've drafted a lot of them. I definitely need to figure out for the Flock League if we're allowed to put suspended players on the IR, because that will completely dictate what I'm looking at when it comes to guys like Judkins, Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison. Spog Slayer says, who's putting me in timeout? Can you explain what I'm doing wrong so I can improve? Flock Fantasy is cool with me, guys. I'm not really taking him to court. Okay, well, I'm going to have to contact my lawyers about that because I was preparing the countersuit. We had been Doing all our research, dotting all our I's, dotting all our T's, and we are coming for you, my friend. But I'll tell them, boys, stand down. Stand down. Caps is currently in Istanbul, waiting for my flight to head back home. Let me know how the hair transplant went, my friend. And if you have a recommendation, if it's like a refer a friend, get $1,500 off or something of that, please hit my line because I am interested. Now, let's pull this over. If David Njoku makes it to us, I'm going to be upset, but there's nothing I can do about it. Dalton Kincaid goes before Njoku. McCarthy goes to the Jefferson team. I can't sit here and cry about the Jefferson team taking McCarthy. Now, I was getting a little antsy. I was getting a little excited thinking that we were going to be able to get McCarthy to pair up with Hawkinson there, but it is what it is. Cap says, thankfully still have hair. Proposed to my girlfriend over the weekend here, though. Smart to lock it down while you still have hair, my friend. Smart. Okay. Marvin Mims goes 131. Obviously, most smart people are taking Marvin Mims instead of Ramondre Stevenson where we took him, specifically because they would go for the Bo Nix Marvin Mims stack. David Njoku makes it all the way down to pick 134 in this draft. Definitely making my decision to take Tyler Warren where we did look stupid. We're going to take Christian Kirk and just get some boring wide receiver points. Christian Kirk's a great example of a wide receiver that in your regular like ESPN draft would never make a difference because you can always go to the waiver wire and pick up somebody that looks like Christian Kirk. You'll never know when to start them. But here in an underdog draft, when you don't have access to the waiver wire, you do kind of need some of these players that you're just going to get a baseline floor from, and they're going to prevent us from getting some zeros in our lineup. And at the same time, on top of that, I don't have to predict when to start them. Okay. But Javante off 142. Swing First says, 4th year following the channel. Just now getting into drafts this year. Much love, brother. Much love, my friend. And thank you for stopping by. Okay, so we have some exciting possibilities making to us potentially in 10 or 8 or so picks. We'll see. Billy says, do you see Ramondre starting week 1? I see Ramondre having a large role week 1. How I would view Ramondre, Trevion Henderson for your regular like ESPN draft. Week 1, week 2, you're probably not starting either guy. I'd imagine it's going to be a messy committee where I'd be too scared to start either one. For your underdog drafts, maybe the first few weeks, one of these guys, whether it's Ramondre or Henderson, they give you a usable week and they slide into your starting lineup immediately. But as the season progresses, I would imagine that Trevion Henderson turns into the feature back. Ramondre will still probably see touches. But from a regular redraft perspective, Ramondre will more so just be a premium handcuff back. Now, in best ball drafts, I think Ramondre is a little more interesting because I think you could get some usable weeks out of him. Okay. David says he lives in Texas. Would love to join a draft with you. My friend, come to the meetup. Well, I won't be doing a draft at the meetup, but maybe you could draft someone else. Okay, let's pull this down. Braylon Allen off the board at 149. Big time riser. Isaac Grindo goes 150. All right. Y'all know I like taking players that will not score points. But if we want to take Judkins, we could possibly get him in the next round. We'll take Bryce Young. Legette's been a big time follower with the Coker news, with Legette fighting in the preseason. We have Chuba Hubbard on this team. We can either get Legette or we can get Jalen Coker. Seahawks fan says, do you have any takes that you hide so the other creators don't know? Here's the thing. All the creators on the site are arrogant to the point where they could know all of my takes and they wouldn't listen. Like, it doesn't matter. So I don't hide any of my takes. Like, every little thought that comes into my mind, that's not too embarrassing, I tell y'all. Okay, we are going to go ahead. We will take Leggett to pair up with Bryce Young. Okay. So now, wide receiver. We have Malik Neighbors, A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison, JSN, Christian Kirk, Xavier Leggett. Wide receiver, we're sitting pretty. Quarterback, we have an unstacked Bo Nix. Not ideal, but maybe they help us. He helps us advance. And we have Bryce Young. My secret weapon was going to be Anthony Richardson in the late rounds to pair up with Tyler Warren, and then we possibly just use the Bo Nix regular season points to advance us, and then we get an Anthony Richardson spike when it matters at the very end. But clearly that doesn't play out. So we're going to need a third quarterback. And looking at our QB options, we could go Darnold to pair up with JSN. I guess that's all we really got. But it is true, Angel Reese doesn't appreciate greatness. So Algier off 168. And yeah, Thornton keeps on rising. This is now back-to-back drafts where he makes it into the 14th. Spog, have a good nap, my friend. Have a good nap. Jack says, I'm in one of the only states without Underdog. Does strategy change between Underdog and DK? I have never done a DK draft, so I would not be the person to tell you that, to be honest. Okay, Darnold goes 173. Rodgers off the board as well. So check my temperature because I am cooked. I am certifiably cooked. Take me out of the oven. Okay. Dear God. Okay. I mean, this is almost pointless at this point. I'll take Jerome Ford. I don't know why. Like, why we're still even here. Our two quarterbacks are an unstacked Bo Nix and Bryce Young. Rodgers goes 18 picks before ADP. Darnold goes 6 picks ahead. So we're not able to get the third quarterback. So I'm not even medium rare. At this point, I'm just well done. I'm crispy. Sir Alexander says this isn't the worst two quarterbacks you could have, to be honest. The reason it's bad is because Bo Nix is unstacked. So we need to use Bo Nix in weeks 15 through 17. Likely goes 182. I think when we have Chuba Hubbard as our running back 1, we can't afford to take the 6th RB. Now, we'll see how many eyeballs that guy has, but I am putting the line at 1.5. Yeah, Alec Pierce goes, so we're going to take the Cyclops. Come on down, Najee. Come on down. Okay. And I legit may take, I see somebody in the chat saying take Troy Franklin at the end. I may take Troy Franklin for this setup. Okay, so now we have Neighbors, A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison, JSN, Christian Kirk, Xavier Leggett. Quarterback, we have an unstacked Bo Nix. We have Bryce Young, double stacked with Chuba and Leggett. Running back, we have Chuba, DeAndre Swift, Caleb Johnson, Ramadre, Jerome Ford, and the Cyclops. So we're going to take one more wide receiver, and potentially we could go with Jackson Dart. Could go with Russ. I never take Jackson Dart because, again, I don't expect you to get many startable games out of him. But this could be a scenario where if Jackson Dart gives you a really strong, usable week 16, and we have that paired up with Malik Neighbors, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I know people were saying Pat Bryant, but realistically, Pat Bryant was gone a long time ago. Like, I would love to take Pat Bryant at 176. But where did Pat Bryant end up going in this draft? Pat Bryant went 172. Owen says, do you think Warren's production will be better with Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson? It would be better with Daniel Jones. I think Anthony Richardson himself is so much more exciting in fantasy given the rushing status that you get. But because Anthony Richardson would monopolize a lot of the points with that offense, given his rushing yards and his rushing touchdowns, the pass catchers, you'd rather have Daniel Jones. Unless you think that Anthony Richardson is all of a sudden just going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Okay, Rico Dowdle goes. We're going to take Dart. Maybe the second draft out of like the 400 we've done this year where we've taken them. But if it ever makes sense, it may do it here. And then wide receiver, we can just go ahead and queue up some of these guys. Do we even need it? Yeah, we need another receiver. Kirk, wide receiver 5. We get wide receiver 6. We need another one. Is Jalen Coker still here? No, Jalen Coker goes. Coker obviously would have made sense. Queue up the Tennessee guys. Throw Roman Wilson there. And then maybe Deontay, Jalen Naylor. Actually, I said we were going to look at Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin would be our number 1. But anyway, we're going to queue one of these guys for sure. So, how many people are out here? Should we do another underdog draft or should we hop in a mock draft on Flock Fantasy? Spam the chat. What would you rather have? Would you rather have us do a mock draft on flockfantasy.com or would you rather us do another best ball draft on Underdog? Let me know what you're thinking. Just saying, so seriously, Jalen Milroe. I know Milroe definitely has more upside, but the thing is, if Milroe's starting, I think JSN's cooked. We got underdog, flock, underdog, flock, underdog, flock, 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 underdog, flock. Underdog, flock, underdog, questions. If you asked a question on the site, we can definitely pull it up as we do a mock draft. Let's do a mock draft on flockfantasy.com, dependent on how many people are out here at the end. Maybe we go ahead and we hop in another underdog draft. Issue is I have to record another video tonight to get to the editor to start getting ahead a little bit on videos. Usually I record the video like right before it comes out, so we have all the relevant news. But we need to get a little ahead on videos because the editor is going to be traveling here for the Flock League. And I'm not going to be able to record anything on like Wednesday, possibly Thursday either. So obviously, if you don't know, you can always go to flockfantasy.com and you can always hop into a public mock draft or you can hop into a draft simulation, whatever you want. But I'm going to be getting in a PPR mock draft on flockfantasy.com. And I believe we got the 11th pick. This thing filled up pretty much immediately, so I didn't get to see where we were picking. Yeah, we're at 11. And these drafts are free. So the only thing that would be paywalled for you, where if you don't have a season pass or you're not like a mother flocker on the site, you won't be able to sort the rankings by like mine. You'll just get the default expert average, but you can hop in these drafts for free. Pakaj says, how will the ban on smelling salts affect players' ADP? They walked back the ban on smelling salts. John says, picked up the season pass today. Where do we add our underdog username? Hopefully we get that on the site ASAP. I'll definitely let y'all know when it's done. I know I already told y'all this before, but if you're a member of flockfantasy.com at a higher tier than monthly, we're going to have on the account page a little section that says enter your Underdog username. And you put in your Underdog username, and if you're a member of flockfantasy.com, a paid one, it'll immediately add $10 into your Underdog account. We had worked with the Underdog devs, my devs that set it all up. They went ahead and they tested it. And what ended up happening is it added $1,000 to the test account that we did. So we had to reach out to Underdog, go, hey, this added $1,000, not 10. Can you get this fixed? They said that they're fixing it. And as soon as that's fixed, our devs will put it live on the site and it'll be good to go. So as that could be done as early as tomorrow morning. And I can't tell you the latest time it could be done. I have no idea. Okay, so we are going to start this draft off with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brian Thomas. I'm just double clicking here whoever's at the top of my rankings at this point. Okay. Uncle Fresh says, Mason, will you check out my trade question? Yeah, if you have a question on the site, please just let me know your site username, and I'd be super happy to pull it up for you. So Chase Brown off the board, a Desire Best. A Desire Best is going to be in Austin at the meetup. Chase Brown goes the 203 to him. Bucky Irving moving up to the 204. Which it sounds like the Rachaad White injury isn't super serious. Okay, so NYJ Mac and Uncle Fresh both have questions we need to pull up within the site. And Rock Bottom says he's okay with the $1,000. Yeah, I told Underdog, I was like, thank God our devs tested this before we put it live on the site. Because that would have been no bueno if all of a sudden I made the announcement in the live stream. And all of a sudden, a bunch of people ran over and got $1,000 out of their Underdog account. And I would have been over. How I would have tried explaining that, it would have been a disaster. Okay. Let's check this out. So first, let's answer the question for Mac Anderson on the site. This question is a trade. It's a keeper plus $100 fab. JT, Brock, Garrett Wilson, Smitty, JMO, RB2 / wide receiver 2 upgrades, pick 4, Henderson. So let's look at this. You're trading Devonta Smith and Tyron Tracy to get JSN. 5-player keeper league. 100% I'm running with the JSN side here. Like, I think you have a great team. I agree. I think that this makes a ton of sense for you to just go out there and upgrade your wide receiver 2. And it's a very reasonable price point to do it with. So, yeah, I think you take JSN. And I love Devonta Smith as well. DeMarcus says you would have funded the whole BBM Mania tournament. Yeah, it would have happened. But let me mark that as complete for you, Mac. Yeah, but please take Jackson Smith and Jigba. That is a no-brainer. And then we're looking for a question from Uncle Fresh, too. I can't do live Q&As on the stream ever. I'm not going to be able to like stream again after this with another one. He says he originally offered me Fields for Mason and Davis, but I took too long to respond, so he resent this deal. Fields would be my QB3. So this is going to be a dynasty league, 10 teams, super flex. We get Fields. We're giving up Waddle, Ray Davis, Jordan Mason. This is easily the Fields side. You know, I don't even like Fields. And 10 team super flex league, quarterback matters a little bit less. But I'd rather have like Devontae Adams over Jordan Mason, Ray Davis. Like Ray Davis, like 26 years old. I know I'm exaggerating there, but pretty damn close. So my highest ranked players, I have George Kittle here. And realistically, I probably need to move Brees behind Garrett Wilson and Jalen Hurts, given the committee talk. Brees ends up going at the 312. Jalen Hurts goes. So we'll take Garrett Wilson in the 4th. I'm not the biggest Garrett Wilson guy, but again, I need to be practicing for the Flock League, which is a double flex format. But yeah, I think you go. Yeah, and I don't really like Justin Fields, but I think you run with it, my friend. And of course, I appreciate you. And as always, if anybody else has any questions on the site, that's... Oh, NYJ Mac, you're saying you have to add in fab to that? If you have a $100 fab budget, I'd be completely fine adding like up to 15% to get that done. Because I think you are the clear winner. I wouldn't go much more than that. So I don't think you're robbing the dude. But if anybody has any other questions on the site that aren't full-blown team reviews, I'd be happy to answer them for you. Always happy to see you, Oliver. Or not Oliver. Jason says, are you worried about the Rams players at all due to Stafford's injury? Yeah, let me pull up the Stafford stuff because I know we haven't talked about it today. I'm sure you saw it, though. But Stafford's not really practicing. We keep on getting told, oh, Stafford's going to be good. And it's not going too well. Okay. Let's see. So this had almost 1 million views. Matthew Stafford walked into this immortal chamber. Immortal advertises itself as a wellness device that aims to optimize human performance and promote holistic health through a combination of non-invasive technologies. He is not practicing today. And the expectations were that Matthew Stafford was going to be practicing today. So I know we showed this in the last draft that we did, but I did pass on Puka Nacua in favor of Malik Neighbors in that last draft, where I would have never done that previously. Michael says, if Vegas Casinos had a line on the Flock League, Mason would be a shoo-in to win the whole thing. You know what I'm actually going to do right now? Oh, that gives me a great idea. Oh, this is going to be hilarious. For those season-long props I just posted on the site, I'm going to add a sheet that says, add it at the end. Who do we think? Okay, obviously I am the heavy betting favorite. The minus 820, we're going to call it. Who is the second most likely to win the Flock League? Let me know in the live chat. We're going to come up with the betting odds for the Flock League right now on this sheet. Calvin Ridley goes 507. We've actually been able to get Ridley a decent amount. I guess that's the Avery bot there. We got Zach being the second most likely, it looks like. Yeah, let's put the fan. Let's put the fan. That'd be funnier. The fan. We'll put him plus 600. Okay. My highest ranked player, I have RJ Harvey, and we don't have a running back. So RJ Harvey's the very natural pick. And realistically, if we get Travis Hunter on the way back around, I may opt to pass on Hunter for another running back. Just because we are sitting with St. Brown, Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson. We have no running backs other than RJ Harvey at this point. James Conner goes, so we'll take DeAndre Swift. We'll get the veteran guy that we can start at the beginning of the year. Okay. Freaking Google Sheets won't let me put plus and then a number. We'll put the fan, and we'll put dev team, third most likely. Fourth, we'll put Zach. Fifth, Avery. 6th, Danny. Actually, I'm going to put Thomas ahead of the other creators. 4th, Thomas. 5th, Nick. 6th, we'll do Zach. 7th, Danny. 8th, Sal. 9th, put Avery. 10th, Badaki. 11th, Nathan. 12th, Corey. Now let me figure out how to put the freaking plus number on Google Sheets, and we'll get this going. Seahawks fan says minus 820 odds is a 90% win chance. Do you think I need to? Yeah, probably need to be like minus 1100 then, right? Because I would say I'm a lot closer to like a 97% chance of winning the Flock League. We're just going to put okay, so here are the updated odds to win the Flock League. I'm sitting at minus 820. Then we got the fan 6-1, Dev team 12-1, Thomas 14-1, Nick 14-1, Zach 18-1, Danny 22-1, Sal 30-1, Avery 35-1, Badaki 50-1, Nathan 100-1, and then Corey. Maybe we need to put some commas here. Figure out what this number officially is. Corey 13,412,341-1. Judkins off to the Avery bot. That's why Avery's 35-1. Look at his rankings, taking Judkins in the middle of the 7th. Kelsey goes 708. Vinny says he's putting $1 on Corey. You're better off using that $1 as toilet paper, my friend. Okay, so I think so. At this point, I'm gonna move tight ends off my board. We're just gonna be looking wide receiver, quarterback, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna move the Niners players ahead of Debo with the updated Brandon Ayuk news, because realistically, I think I would take the Niners receivers ahead of him. So we're going to go with Jawan Jennings over Debo Samuel. Cart says, send a question on the site. Okay, let me pull that up, my friend. Shakir goes, okay, so we have Mahomes as the best value in round 8. We could go get Jacoby Myers if we really wanted another receiver. Running back, we have like Brian Robinson, Tyrone Tracy. Mahomes round 8 doesn't feel too bad. We'll take him. We'll see how this goes. It's hilarious people realizing that, yes, Jaylen Warren is the starting running back week 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been the expectation all offseason, my friend. But Caleb Johnson should still go ahead of him because you don't draft your fantasy football team for week 1. It's like clowning on people for taking Chase Brown last year, that's clowning on people for taking Bucky Irving last year. Okay, Jaden Reed off 808. Purdy goes 809. Seeing the quarterbacks go in this round makes me feel better about taking Mahomes where we did. Because obviously running back's going to be incredibly weak for us as we're sitting with RJ Harvey and DeAndre Swift as our two guys. I completely got distracted. We're supposed to be pulling up the question from cards. Dak goes 901, makes me feel even better. I probably do need to do like I probably need to do a Q&A tomorrow. So we will do that. But I just have to make that video tonight. Tomorrow's going to be a busy. I'm about to be a busy boy. Okay, Karts asked, who's the lowest ranked running back you're okay with as your running back one in a 12-team PPR league? I'm 101 and will miss the running backs on the way back around at the 2-3 turn. This is why I actually don't love the 101 pick this year, my guy. I mean, if you're in a league that's like 12-team, start 3 wide receiver, full PPR, then yeah, building around Chase is a really exciting start. But in a lot of your regular redraft leagues, you're not going to get the opportunity to take like Jonathan Taylor here at the 212. You may even have like Kyron Williams going ahead of this. So if you were to go with the running back at the 2-3 turn, which let me get ready to make my pick real quick. I have Jaylen Warren ranked as my highest available running back. We'll take him. I think he loses his job to Caleb Johnson as the season goes on, but he should be a starting running back week 1. And that's something we probably need with RJ Harvey as one of our picks. And then we're going to go ahead, and I love the tight ends in this range, but we already have Kittle, so I really don't want to have to draft them. We could go just take J.K. Dobbins. We could take Justin Fields, play the matchups between him and Mahomes, but I feel like Mahomes is too high of a tier for us to do that. So let's take J.K. Dobbins as our 4th running back. That's going to be the biggest need for us. But if we are looking at like the running backs that you could reasonably take at the 2-3 turn, I would say Hampton, Kyron would be the last 2 running backs that you could. What I would avoid doing is I would avoid reaching on Breece, Kamara, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Trevion Henderson. There'd be no reason to take them at the 2-3 turn, even if you have a massive run of these guys in the second. And then at the 4-5 turn, you could take Trevion Henderson, James Cook, Kenneth Walker comfortably. You could take Chuba Hubbard there comfortably. Once you get to RJ Harvey, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Pacheco, it's probably a little bit too rich. And then at the 6-7 turn, there's a good shot that you get like David Montgomery. But yeah, in terms of the first 5 rounds, the last running back I would take at the 301, if you really need one, your league's going to go crazy with RBs, would be like Kyron, Hampton, Taylor. Obviously, Chase Brown, Bucky may go lower in your draft. If you can get Chase Brown, Bucky there, let's go for it. And then 4-5 turn would be like Kamara, Walker, James Cook, Trevion, Chuba Hubbard. I don't think I'm reaching on RJ Harvey or James Conner there, though. Okay. So now wide receiver, we have Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas, Jawan Jennings, Garrett Wilson. So great wide receiver room. We have the elite tight end with Kittle. Running back, we have RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift, Jaylen Warren, J.K. Dobbins. So if I had to predict what the league analyzer is going to give us at the end of this draft, They're going to tell us that we have the 6th best wide receiver room. No, actually, 5th best wide receiver room. They're going to tell us we'll have the 3rd best tight end room. We're going to have the 6th best quarterback room. And we're going to have the worst running back room in this draft. So I think the league analyzer is going to hate our team. That's my expectation. Drew says, Underdog putting up flock league odds would be crazy. They all start equal and just change based off who's getting best. It would be really, really cool, but I just don't know if it would be legal. Like, I have no idea how that would work. Desire Best says he'll probably be last. Starting Achane, Chase Brown, Tyreek Evans, Waddle. Yeah, you're probably going to be pretty low as well. If you use the FSE rankings, if you use Danny's rankings, he's going to love your team. So realistically, we are to the point of the draft where if you really wanted to start taking some of these quarterbacks, tight ends, you can. And you can like play the matchup between Mahomes, Goff. Maybe one of these guys turns out to be total dust. Maybe one of them turns out to be relevant. There's so many tight ends, however, that I'm definitely not taking a tight end here at the 111. If I wanted one, I could just get one at the beginning of the 12th. For that reason, I think I'm actually going to be reaching. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Braylon Allen with the positive news that we're getting about this being a committee. And if you do think that there's any validity to the Breece Hall trade stuff. And then also Braylon Allen is just a perfect pick for like a managed redraft league, like not an underdog draft. Because realistically, Breece Hall goes down, you know you can start Braylon Allen. Like you don't have to be guessing. You know you'll just immediately plug him into your lineup. So I'm going to take Jared Goff as our second QB. I think I would opt to go with the second quarterback before I'd go with the second tight end if our quarterback was selected in round 8 and we selected our tight end in round 3. Iceberg won a bag says Trevion went at the 2-3 turn in his home league today. Dear God. So Jordan Love goes. At this point, when we have Mahomes and Jared Goff, we're hoping we see a bunch of quarterbacks go. You're definitely never taking a third QB in your regular redraft league, of course. Vinny, I don't think we've showed the fancy subscribe animation tonight. If you have not done so already, please go down there, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to come out to these live streams, which we do every single night, if you hit the bell next to the subscribe button, YouTube will tell you when we're live. But we'll be live streaming every single day until Christmas. I promise you I won't miss a day. Y'all have seen me even deathly ill during the football season. We don't miss a day. Okay. Michael says, Mason, how often is the ADP updated? Is it hourly, daily, weekly, etc.? If you're referring to underdog drafts, it's updated every day. If you're referring to the ADP that we have in the draft sheets posted on flockfantasy.com, we have the two things, the consensus ADP, which the consensus ADP also is used for the draft sheets, where we track all the ESPN, Sleeper, Yahoo, FFPC, Underdog ADP, get a consensus across all the platforms. I update this every Friday. And then I update all the draft sheets for y'all on Friday as well. It's too hard for me to do it more than once a week. Nick Chubb goes 1301. Love the Nick Chubb pick. Again, for a redraft perspective, it's literally perfect. Him, Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, Najee Harris. Like, I like taking guys with your last few picks that you will get news and their value will change from today to week 1. I can't tell you which direction that value is going to go in. Could go even lower, could go higher. But I like the fact that it's going to move, because if it goes any lower, oh, okay, cool. They're an easy cut. And if it goes any higher, hell, maybe you just got a really strong value. Okay, Thornton goes. So wide receiver, when we have St. Brown, Brian Thomas, Wilson, Juwan Jennings. We're to the point where in like the flock league, I'm sure that all the wide receivers will be soaked up, just like you see in this draft. We'll see. According to my rankings, the highest available wide receivers are Christian Kirk and Xavier Legette. According to the expert average, they're Christian Kirk and Jalen McMillan. Looks like the expert average actually has Jalen Coker over Legette. We have 5 running backs. Highest available running back, according to my rankings, is Miles Sanders. Again, I think Sanders is kind of perfect pick near the end of these drafts, because he could be the starting running back week 1. He could be just an easy cut. We're going to take Christian Kirk, though. I think there are a bunch of running backs that we can get here in round 14. And let's see where the league analyzer has us. League analyzer is going to tell us that we're cooked. We're going to take Miles Sanders. We'll see what the Dallas backfield is week 1. The most, probably the most probable outcome is we're just cutting Miles Sanders after week 1 for this team. But it is in the range of outcomes, whether that's a 5% chance, 10% chance, I don't know, that Miles Sanders is the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys, and we just got a league winner. But Desire Best saying that I'm going to be 11th and he's going to be 12th in the league analyzer. We'll see what they have us. Yeah, I think the league analyzer is going to tell us we got cooked. Wide receivers, St. Brown, Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson, Juwan Jennings, Christian Kirk. Tight end, George Kittle. We maybe should have just taken a second tight end instead of Christian Kirk. If we wanted to look good in the league analyzer, that's what we would have done. Running back, RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren, J.K. Dobbins, Braylon Allen, Miles Sanders. Week 1, we would realistically be starting DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren. And then hoping that we have a breakout from either RJ Harvey or J.K. Dobbins. Maybe we get the handcuff appeal with Braylon Allen. Maybe he has a larger role than we are expecting. But running back, the league analyzer is going to have us 12th. We're going to be dead last at running back. Quarterback, I think the league analyzer is going to have us 6th. Wide receiver, it will have us 4th. And then tight end, it will have us 4th. Okay, I'm pleasantly surprised. We're 6th in the league analyzer with the expert average ranks. Obviously, if we move this over and we use my rankings instead, my rankings will have us higher. Where does my ranking? My rankings have us at 5, so not that too far off. But my rankings have us as the 5th best quarterback room with Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff. The 3rd best tight end room with Kittle. 4th best wide receiver room with St. Brown, Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson, Juwan Jennings, Christian Kirk. And the 10th best running back room with RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren, J.K. Dobbins, Braylon Allen, Miles Sanders. What running back rooms are supposed to be worse than mine? The Avery bot has Derrick Henry, Cam Scatterboo, Quinshon Judkins, Jaden Blue. Obviously, having the anchor with Derrick Henry, running back 1 so much stronger than ours. But if Judkins is a 0, I understand why the league analyzer is putting him behind us. And then the next one, Willett has Henderson, Joe Mixon, Jordan Mason, Tank Bigsby, Najee Harris. So, yeah, I'd probably rather have my running back room over theirs as well. So, overall, I wouldn't hate this. Like, this would be very similar to our team that we drafted last year in the Flock League, where we went super heavy at wide receiver. We grabbed ourselves what we thought was an elite tight end. In a league where you have the ability to start up to 4 receivers weekly and it's a full PPR format, I like the strat. Obviously, you're going to be scrambling at running back, but if you hit on a couple like we did last year, you're going to be in a good spot. So, I wouldn't hate this team. But I think that's probably going to be it for this live stream. I have to record a video for y'all after this, but will remind you, of course, please, if you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. I'll be live streaming every single night until Christmas. Really hope we can hang out, talk some fantasy football with you. We're going to be drafting teams every single night on Underdog Fantasy. They're best ball, no time commitment at all during the season. I always leave the link in the description comment section that says draft with us here. And if you use code FLOCK, you'll get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you'll get all our 2025 fantasy football draft sheets and rankings. And on top of that, we still have the season pass available if you're not able to take advantage of the Underdog offer. $34 on flockfantasy.com gets you access to not only all my draft sheets, but also all the draft guides from all the other creators, plus all the access to every single tool on the site, including the My Teams page, trade calculator, trade finder, range of outcomes, player comparison, whole 9 yards, plus weekly updated rankings until January 1st, both rest of season and weekly. And you know I tinker with those every single day. But if you use code FLOCK, I'm also going to be answering your free start set questions and your trade questions during the season when we're live streaming every night. But appreciate you. That is flockfantasy.com. I'm sure you've heard me say it 1,000 times, but I am very much looking forward to this week. This is by far and away the best week of the year for me, the most stressful week of the year for me. So everything comes down to the draft I have on Saturday, and we'll see what I can do. Hopefully I make y'all proud. Hopefully I don't embarrass myself too much. Hopefully I see you in the live stream.